This is Ling Chi, brush painting for beginners. Today's subject is Calla Lily. The thing that got us to do this particular subject is that first is a single petal flower, so it's beginners friendly. The other thing is we like to talk a little bit about the difference between the East and West culture. In Chinese, I grew up during the wedding. We use a lot of this flower for weddings. There is very good reason for that. One thing is that when you look at the flower, it's a heart shape. And then also the flower is round and come together means the union of two people and two family stay together. So the Chinese wedding, we use a lot of this calla lily as the bouquet for the brides. While the Chinese use the calla lily for weddings, and then in the West culture, then we see a lot of usage of calla lily at funerals, which has another different meanings, is coming from the Christianity, that the lily is the symbol of rebirth. So they use a lot in the Easter as well as in the funerals. So I thought this is a very interesting comparison of two cultures, that how do we use these flowers. The reference, we are using Ning Yeh's 108 Flower Book 1. There is a calla lily, and we simplify the subject, the composition. The paper we're going to use is that we've been talking about it in our newsletter, called Water Dragon paper, and its major material is mulberry with about 30% sizing. If you like this paper, we have limited quantity in hand, and I will get some to put it away, because the next batch, the sizing might be a little bit different. We like it for the flower because it's very moisture forgiving. So if, as a beginner, if you have control issue with the moisture, then this is a good paper that to help you up your success rate. And then we also will later on to show you how to use it in the landscape. This Friday we'll have a virtual session about texture and washes. This is also the paper we will use. So this paper will be good for floral as well as landscape. And then the brushes I use, that in the Ning Yeh's book, that he uses the flow brush for the flower petal. And then because of this paper is so dry, and then so I choose to use a large orchid bamboo, so you can see the size is quite different, and it will hold a little bit more moisture, and then also help me with the shape. And then the leaves will use the large flow or large flow. And then while where seams are a little out of supply on the large flow, we can also use my favorite combination brush, which is the Lotus brush. So you are using flower petal and the leaves. And then the color we're going to use is our go-to convenient companion set for the majority of the color, and then bass bottle ink, and also bleed proof white for the center. And I'm not always a good housekeeper, but I highly recommend you use a different dish to take your bleed proof white out of the jar instead of using completely from the jar, because if you do that like I did before, and then it will contaminate the jar and then becomes powdery, then you have to get a new one. And then I mixed the white from the companion set and then the indigo to as my base color for the flower petal. So we'll get started. I'm using the large orchid bamboo. You can use the flow brush if you're using N-size paper. I like this brush for this paper because to me the flow was quite dry for me to try to paint it. So I wet the brush, and then I first load the white with the indigo, and then I clean the tip, and then I dip into the indigo, and then this indigo is really bright, so I add a little bit black in from the palette to soften this indigo up. And then I tip a little bit purple. The second stroke to shape this flower is a little bit higher and then hugging the first one. And then the third stroke on the top to unite this two. So like we talk about it like a wedding, so this two stroke is being united. So two family are coming together. So if you're using N-sized paper, then I wouldn't recommend to work like what I'm doing right now. But this paper, you definitely can soften it up. And then the center, I'm using the indigo with a little purple, with a little black. Then I load the white again, indigo from my mixing dish, and tip with the green. So I'm painting the Calla to hold it. So then I will do a little flower butt right underneath here. There's a little child is going to come out of this wedding. cream. Then I go back to the center like what I did before. So this is the bud. Now I'm going to use the green, soften it up with a little bit ochre. And then you can use your large flow, or I'm right now using the full Lotus. And I load the green blend, and then I dip the ink, and then I'm going to do the leaves. And then I use my large orchid bamboo. You can also use your flow. Now we're going to connect the stem. So we are here, one. Then this one from the bud. And then we have the leaves stem. The center now is, so you don't want to do it too dry, too wet. So you want to wait a little bit at the last. And then I'm using my flow brush, dip into my bleed for white with the mixing with the yellow. For the center of the flower.